and welcome back to A Chapter a Day.
Keeps the devil away.
We are going to talk about Matthew 21. I'm Pastor Pleck along with Pastor Holland. And so Matthew 21, let's outline it. Let's find some questions and observations that maybe a lot of you are interested in. And then we are going to then give three or so. Let's talk about some truths about the nature of men and the character of God, finally wrapping it up with some practical application. All right, so Matthew 21 starts off with verses 1 through 11, which is the king entering in humility, the triumphal entry into Jerusalem, where he fulfills Zechariah 9:9 when he rides in on a donkey. Full, that is. Then you've got 12 through 17. The king cleans his house. He ain't messing around. He's flipping some tables over. And then he's going to quote Isaiah 56:7 and Jeremiah 7:11, declaring judgment on the misuse of God's house. Then we're going to talk about the king will condemn hypocrisy in verses 18 through 22, and he curses the fig tree, which we're going to talk about that as what that means deeper. And then we're going to look at verses 23 through 27. The king challenges the authority of the religious leaders when they kind of ask him about what authority is doing everything. He rips back at them. Then the king exposes the rebellion, and he talks about the parable of the two sons and the wicked servants or wicked tenants. Okay, and then you got the first son that says no but obeys, and the second says yes but doesn't. That was the Pharisees. And then the tenants kill the owner's son. Jesus warns that judgment is coming. He is the owner's son. Then we wrapped up there. So let's talk through maybe some observations and maybe some common questions that come up in this. What are some things that you observed in this text?
Man, I think if you're coming to this chapter and you've just kind of grown up thinking Jesus is this very nice, polite, soft man, this is going to be a very shocking chapter. He flips tables. He curses a tree. He refuses to answer a question, that they ask him because they won't answer his. And then he tells these parables that really indict the leaders and clearly show them to be arrogant, spiritually blind, murderous people at heart.
And he's claiming to be the Son of God.
Yeah.
All right. So
and if you don't believe him, verse 44. The one who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, and when it falls on anyone, it will crush him.
Right.
This is crushing doctrine here.
Crushing doctrine. All right. So why does Jesus ride on a donkey?
Great question.
So it's a fulfillment of prophecy from Zechariah.
Okay, see.
9:9. Did you not think that's from Zechariah 9:9?
No. It is. My question is, why do you say Zechariah instead of Zechariah? Everyone says Zechariah, but it's Z-E.
Right,
where's it come from?
Tomato, all right? Zechariah.
I didn't know if you had a reason for it.
No, I may have misspoke, all right? So, sorry. Good thing we've got Mr. Perfection over here with... All right, so here's what Zechariah 9:9 says. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. Righteous and having salvation is he, humble and mounted on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. Now, here's what's weird. Riding a donkey actually wasn't that humble. I think sometimes we think of donkeys as very humble, but King David had a donkey. King David let Solomon, I think, ride his donkey around. So that was not the humble part. The humble part is he's riding a colt, the foal of a donkey. It's like going into a presidential parade, riding a moped. I mean, it is.
Yeah, right.
It is not like you're like, that is, or he's got a bike or something. You're like, I don't know. Like, it's my new electric bike, everybody. That to me is strange, but clearly, because a king would usually come with a military power, here he comes on a foal of a donkey.
So the significance of that is...
that this is how the Messiah would come. It was predicted from Zechariah, which was a long time before.
Right, but like why? Why is it important that he's coming on in a humble way on the foal of a donkey rather than on, this like a powerful war horse or
Well, he will come as a powerful war horse in the second coming.
Okay.
So remember, he does come to wreck shop in Revelation.
Yeah, and he's coming on a white horse.
White horse.
With a sword in his mouth.
Like, and just chopping heads off.
So, but he's coming here differently. Like, why would you say why the difference?
Yeah,
Why?
that's a great question. What do you think?
To me, it seems, we're on the heels of him saying, came not to be served, but to serve.
Mm-hmm.
He's showing, something distinct about him, that his rule and reign is a humble rule and reign. That he's coming as the king, but he's also coming as not a political, military ruler of an earthly kingdom, but rather his spiritual rulership and kingship.
But what if the people accepted him?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that? I guess I don't know if that would ruin everything, but I don't think they had the capacity to accept him.
Well, they wanted to. They wanted to make him king, remember?
Right.
They were trying to make him king.
In John 6, but that was only because they were getting their stomachs filled.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think he's showing here, like, I'm not coming to be just the king over, Judah in this Roman province, right?
Right.
I am coming to be the king of kings. I'm coming to rule over everything.
Yeah.
And why that's good news is because I am a humble king.
Okay.
I'm not going to lord this over and oppress the poor. Like, I'm coming as a king who is humble, who is going to be a king who saves, who serves.
So then there's this weird thing of being this humble, meek person, and then he starts flipping tables. Why is Jesus angry at the temple? Why the temple tantrum?
All right, yeah. So I think this is such an interesting question because, like, either Jesus is, inconsistent and schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Or humility and righteous zeal are not enemies. If you take both of these things together and say, okay, Jesus doesn't have like some erratic personality where he's just really emotional and he's real humble over here and then real crazy over here.
Right.
It is a humble thing to have a righteous anger about the glory of God. What would not be humble would be to have a righteous anger about your own glory, right? In a selfish, human, arrogant kind of way. But what Jesus is righteously zealous about is the glory of God. And it's his own house. He can flip a table in his own house.
Right. And I think it gets to, remember, he says, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you made it a den of robbers.
Yeah.
He's combining two different verses there. So my house shall be called a house of prayer. And I think it's in Mark that says for all nations. Yeah. Isaiah 56:7 is where he's getting that quote from. It says, I will bring them to my holy mountain. I will make them happy in the temple where people pray to me. Their burnt offerings and sacrifice will be accepted on my altar. For my temple will be known as a temple where all nations may pray.
And that was Solomon's prayer of dedication as well, right?
Right. Yeah, when people come. So, and where was the buying and selling of the, they're turning a profit in the place where the Gentiles were called to come and pray. In the court of Gentiles, that's where they were allowed to pray. That's what, and there was no place for them to pray because it was a wild, insane, zany place where they were making money and selling out the people. And that meant there was going to be judgment coming for them. Because Jeremiah 7:11 says, do you think this temple I have claimed as my own is to be a hideout for robbers? You had better take note. I have seen for myself what you have done, says the Lord. Like Jesus is not happy, and God is not happy by that. So therefore, there is going to come a judgment on the temple.
Yeah.
Which is
fulfilled. And that doesn't make Jesus not humble or meek, though. That's consistent with his humility and his meekness, is that he's zealous about the right things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. In fact, zeal for his temple, for his house, consumes him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love that. Let's get back to how about this? Why Okay, he has the temple tantrum. All right, that's actually humble and actually is not a tantrum. It's him clearly doing the right thing and ousting the wrong people. But cursing a tree, I mean, like there's a lot of
You've never cursed a tree.
I mean, you know, like why curse a tree? And we know that's not the season for figs, and yet he's hungry and doesn't find figs on it. So why the cursing of the fig tree?
The fig tree is a parable.
Ooh.
It's a symbol for
Israel?
and the temple system that he just saw the corruption of. It was supposed to be, you know, a place that had the fruit of praise to God from people of all nations coming in, and it wasn't. And so when he curses this fig tree here, may no fruit ever come from you again.
So that means the temple is done.
Done. Dunzo. No fruit ever coming from that temple
what
again.
if Israel rebuilds the temple today?
It would be a fruitless endeavor. Wouldn't you agree?
Endeavor. I would totally agree. It would be a fruitless endeavor because it is no longer working for the Lord. It is clearly against him because he is the temple and he is the sacrifice and he is the high priest and he is the entire sacrificial system in one.
Yeah. And the one, what was just a shadow, the temple system, the substance shows up and goes in. Jesus goes into the temple and is rejected there, and is mocked and is criticized and is doubted. And so clearly that temple is not serving its purpose. And therefore he curses the fig tree, symbolic of God's judgment coming on the temple.
Why doesn't Jesus just answer the religious leaders? Like, why?
This is where he's such a genius.
Yeah,
Don't you love it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a religious leader, you would be frustrated though, right? I mean, I think there's a part of me that now I'm a religious leader. I just like, Jesus, shoot me straight, man. What do you think?
Their heart was not sincere.
Right.
It was a game. They're trying to trap him, and Jesus is just like, I'm not going to play your game.
I'm not going to play your game.
So answer me. I love it. It says, Jesus answered them, I will ask you one question, and if you tell me the answer, I'll tell you. And he asked such a brilliant, obviously he's God, you know. Yeah. But it's just so, like, you see it and you're like, man, that was perfect. And they can't do it. They're stuck because they hate, you know, they hate it. They didn't believe in John the Baptist, but they know that the crowd's against them, so they're stuck. Right. And it's just a brilliant move.
All right, so what about the parable of the tenants? So we get to the parable of tenants when, you know, he talks about the people who are leasing the vineyard. It comes time for payment to produce the fruit. They don't give the fruit. They kill the messengers and eventually kill the son.
Yeah.
What's the direction here?
You know, that's the what's it called? The inspectors, the servants going out. Those are the prophets who are coming to, you know, inspect the fruit of God's people, essentially. And, you know, the Pharisees are criticized often by Jesus as being the ones who killed the prophets. Right. And John the Baptist gets killed too, you know. He, as the final prophet, essentially, and the greatest born among women is what Jesus calls him. He's kind of the last prophet that is killed by this really broken religious system and king system, right? King Herod and the Pharisees, everyone was against John the Baptist when he was God's prophet. And so now finally he sends the son, and that's Jesus himself.
What I love about this is that you kind of have this idea of fruit. The fig tree has no fruit. It's cursed.
Yeah.
It's representative of the temple system. The tenants of the vineyard won't give up the fruit to pay the owner their lease as agreed. They have failed, and so then they are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
That is what's going to happen to the temple and to the entire system that is there. Okay.
Right.
Let's get to some truths about the character of God. I thought God is sovereign and fulfills his word, even down to what Jesus would ride coming into Jerusalem to, you know, state that I'm king.
Yeah. Amen. God is holy.
Yeah.
You think of Jesus's righteous anger for the temple becoming a den of robbers. And, you know, this is profaning the holiness of God.
Yeah. How about God is patient, but just? I mean, he sends many messengers.
Yeah.
He's sending them, I mean, like, they're getting killed. Like, you would think at some point he'd be like, all right, that's enough. But judgment comes when the son is rejected, and judgment to Israel comes
Yeah.
when the son is rejected. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What about the nature of man? How about man honors God with lips, but not with life?
There you go.
Sometimes we are like the second son who says, yeah, I'll go do it, but then we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think you just see our depraved nature as thinking that we can, they're trying to trap Jesus in the parable. They're killing the servants sent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have a selfish, self-seeking nature as sinful people that just wants to look out for ourselves. Yeah.
Right. I think it's interesting. I think man wrongly assumes privilege guarantees favor. Like, they thought if we kill the son, well, then God's got his hands tied. He has to give it to us.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to God can go find descendants of Abraham from rocks.
Yeah.
And he can put his spirit inside people, which is crazy. And we just sort of feel like I have the privilege over other people. All right, let's get to some application. How about hypocrisy? Saying the right things while doing the opposite is bad. Or how about resisting Christ's authority over our lives, but proclaiming like, I love God?
Yeah, that's good. And I think of the two sons, the one that says, I will not, but afterward changes his mind and does it. And it's like, that's the one that did the will of God. I think sometimes we can go, you know what? I haven't been following God for so long. I might as well just, what's the point? There's no one would believe me or take me seriously. I've done too many bad things. I just need to stay. And it's like, an application is like, no matter how far down the road of sin you've gone, it's never too late to turn around.
I love that. How about a command to obey? My house shall be a house of prayer for all nations. That's, Isaiah 56:7. But honor God through worship, not self-interest. Like, there's got to be this part of like, I am not here at church doing religious things to make myself a little bit smarter, a little bit better than everybody else.
Yeah, that's good. Verse 42, Jesus said to them, have you never read in the scriptures? Here's an application. Read the scriptures. Read the Old Testament. So much of Jesus's justification for his ministry, what he did, why he did it, where he went, who he went to, was the Old Testament scriptures. So we're studying Matthew now, obviously, but if you're really going to understand Matthew, if you're really going to understand Jesus, you got to know your Old Testament. Read the scriptures.
Read the scriptures. All right. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow on Chapter a Day.